NBA tip-off show for this Monday, November the 25th. Big card. 9 NBA games tonight on Monday. We're going to break them down for you. Also answer any questions you have in the live chat here, 3:30 Eastern live on weekdays on WagerTalk TV. Rob Vino, Ski Prophet joining me. I am Steve Merrill, filling in for Joe Ranieri. Don't you worry. He's scheduled to be back tomorrow on Tuesday. Catch him on Sports Grid right now. After this show live, go watch Sports Grid TV if you want a little Joe Ranieri fix for Monday. But we're going to do the same format as always, guys, and start off with the contrarian play of the day. And don't look now. The Detroit Pistons laying 5 points. They used to always be the contrarian play. Now we're playing against them if you want to be contrarian, and that's with the Toronto Raptors as a 5-point dog. And Skee, I'll start with you. What is your take on this game? Do you trust the Raptors as a dog at Detroit tonight?
I trust them more than I trust the Pistons laying points. The Pistons are the more rested team. The Raptors played last night. I think that has a big deal to do with the point spread number that we're seeing right now. But no Cade for Detroit. I mean, this Raptors group is still a bunch of young players, and they play hard every single night. So just simply because of that, I'm more inclined to take the Raptors in this game.
Yeah, Rob, it's a little bit of uncharted territory for the Pistons now to be laying points against other teams, but they're a little bit of a franchise on the rise, I guess you could say, whereas Toronto, world champ just a few years ago, is kind of heading the opposite direction in recent seasons. But is this an overreaction to the betting markets tonight? Who do you like in this game? I love everyone. This is the greatest game ever.
Is it really? I should have stayed
You
muted.
look great.
Let Steve go with the little girl analysis there. I would like that better. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with one of the things Skee said. Just checking some quotes before Toronto played yesterday, and they're extremely high on the way they're playing so far this season. It might not be resulting in wins straight up in the win column, but they're certainly satisfied, not satisfied, but they're happy with the way that they're playing basketball right now, and they want to continue to elevate that. So I don't know if back-to-back bothers Toronto all that much here this early in the season. They have been a team that's been injury-riddled, so depth has been a question, and certainly in back-to-backs you do worry about depth, but the Cade Cunningham injury is probably more significant than any injury on the Toronto side at this point in time. I would probably take the points here with Toronto. Asking Detroit to win by margin just isn't something that I want to do at this point in time. So I think, Toronto's probably the right side, guys. I'd just rather have the team with continuity. And it seems to me that Toronto, happy playing with each other, happy the direction that they're going.
Yeah, we've seen really no movement on this game as far as the point spread. Open 5 across the board. It is currently 5 across the board. Where we have seen movement, though, on this one, as you check the WagerTalk live odds screen, you, of course, can see the openers from numerous sports books and the current live odds. As high as 225 total, 223 in other spots. Now it's 221, even 220 and a halves. So we have seen substantial movement on the under in this game, but not much movement on the side. Toronto Raptors, the contrarian play of the day at +5. All right, let's look at a little more high-profile games tonight. We got Dallas and Atlanta. This one tips off at 7:40 Eastern, Skee, and we currently have heavy money move on Atlanta, actually. They opened as low as -1 to -2, and now we see them at -4, even 4.5s in some spots. In fact, this line just moved about 5 minutes ago on the WagerTalk live odds screen, dropped back down to 4 after hitting a peak of 4.5 earlier today. What is your take on this game, Mavericks and Hawks tonight at 7:40 Eastern?
Well, the reason you're probably seeing a line move right now is because there's more injury news coming out. I think I saw Kyrie just got listed as questionable. Grimes also questionable. We know they're without Luka, without Exum, and Clay also questionable in that game. So that's why you're seeing a little bit of line movement right there. It's not the greatest spot for the Mavericks. That's also why these guys are listed as questionable. They just played last night in an overtime game that they lost, and another travel spot here tonight. They just were coming off of a road game. Meanwhile, you have the Hawks who've been resting for a couple of days. They're getting healthier right now. They're at the house. So I can understand in this situation why you have the Hawks at the number you do. I think the Hawks are the correct side. I would go with the spot in this game. And if I have to look at the total, if you do get Kyrie and Clay rolled in, I could maybe think about the over. You're going to need some help from that side. But Atlanta likes to play fast. They're also not the best defensive team. And in this spot for Dallas, I don't think they're that interested in playing top-notch defense. So wait on the injury report for the over. Other than that, I think the Hawks are the right side.
Yeah, Rob Skee's exactly right. I mean, that 3:30 Eastern NBA report comes out, of course, every day. And if you look right about 3:31 Eastern is when this line went from 3 to 4.5. Now it's settled back at 4. And Rob, the total has gone from 237 down to 234.5 in the last few minutes. So this is definitely based on that injury report. Doncic, of course, out. And now with Kyrie and Clay listed as questionable, it does start to look, at least the betting markets think this could be a take a night off game for Dallas. But as you know, Rob, it's never that easy in the NBA, right? If we've just blindly played these moves with shorthanded teams, we've done pretty well the last few years.
Yeah, and if you wanted to throw another wrench into that, Steve, you would say that it's the first home game for Atlanta off of a 4-game road trip. Generally speaking, we don't like the team coming home in their first game, as somewhat of a handicapping rule. But I would say I'm more inclined to think that Atlanta puts up points here as a team. I think I saw their team total listed at 119. You're going to ask them to get to 120. Dallas gave up, albeit in overtime, they gave up over 120 last night to Miami, which doesn't have nearly the scoring capability that Atlanta does for Dallas. It's the final of a 3-game road trip. It is back-to-back, like Skee was saying, and you just wonder if Jason Kidd's going to kind of shell out the minutes in a way that probably, goes for rest more than a win in this particular instance. If that's the case, Atlanta can shoot their way to 120 pretty easily against a disinterested Dallas defense. If Kyrie does play, you get a little more tempo in this game. Although even if Kyrie doesn't play, I think you would get Dallas tempo. Again, it's just one of those situational spots here where you don't expect Dallas to come and bring a bunch of defense. And Atlanta certainly got the offensive capability. They're off a loss in their game the other night, Friday night. So with 2 days rest, with a team that doesn't look like they want to play a lot of defense, with a team that against a team that has a lot of pace at home and can score, I think Atlanta team total over 119 makes a lot of sense.
And that game, once again, it's 7:40 Eastern tonight on Monday, one of the better games on the board, if we get some of those star players for Dallas. If not, Skee, this might be the best game, the late night game, bottom of the rotation here, 10 o'clock Eastern, Oklahoma City Thunder and the Sacramento Kings. And we talk about that 3:30 Eastern report. OKC's got 7 guys on there, a lot of the usual suspects that have been on there, but Sacramento not yet submitted. They have not submitted an injury report, so we'll see how that plays out. Any thoughts on this game? Currently, we're seeing Oklahoma City about a 4-point road favorite. It was at 4.5 at the open. Total's gone up from 224 to 226 in this late night game.
My bad. For this game, the first thing that I didn't see that total move though, but the first thing that stood out to me was the Kings only getting 4 points against OKC. Like OKC is a top team. And they're the more rested team, Kings on a back-to-back. This number just feels like it's short to me. If it's that easy, OKC should go ahead and win by 10 versus these Kings. But if I have to make some cases for the Kings, they are getting a little bit healthier. Malik Monk could possibly come back today. They're at the house. I think the Kings throw the first punch. The argument I'll make for them is rest or rust. OKC has been off for 4 days. We always talk about how many days is it before you get rusty. I think 4 is the number that I decided on. So I don't know that I want to trust Sacramento for a full 48 minutes, but for 12, possibly.
Possibly. There we go. That's the possibility there for that late night game. And Rob, you and I were doing the show on Friday, and we talked about the Clippers-Kings game. I actually had a best bet for my clients on the Kings Friday night, but I mentioned here on the show, you can understand why a lot of people thought the wrong team was favored. Clippers, slightly better record. Kings, have they proven they can really win on the road? Well, I was definitely wrong on that game. They dropped that one by 16. They were never in it. And then, of course, they followed it up on Sunday with a 5-point home loss against Brooklyn. A really bad loss as a 10.5-point favorite. So the Kings are now 1-4 straight up, 0-5 ATS their last 5. Always a red flag for me when I think a team's in a good spot like Friday night. I had a best bet on the Kings and they didn't show up. And then obviously I stayed way, way away from them on Sunday and they didn't show up again yesterday. So what's your take on this game and this team in general?
All right, so I took your place yesterday and I tried them thinking that they would show up. And you're right, Steve, they didn't. After Friday night's game against the Clippers, head coach Mike Brown went ballistic on his team. lack of effort, lack of energy, lack of everything. He was not pleased with their performance. And we had mentioned here on this show that, you were getting Sabonis back for the first time. You're getting DeRozan back for the first time. And perhaps there could be a little rust on the Kings in that game because you're inserting two guys back into the lineup after a long absence. But they played that game, heard their coach, obviously didn't listen because they came out last night and gave up 13 threes in the first half. It was so bad last night that Mike Brown had to go and get a technical foul for no reason. Just ran up and down the sideline chewing out a referee over a foul that was no foul because he wanted to try and ignite his team, wondering where the heck they were. That to me is a double red flag. You can't show up twice in a row and you don't listen to your head coach at all. And it was the second game with Sabonis and DeRozan back in. I'm just not sure about the Kings at this point in time. They're on their home floor last night, for goodness sake, against the Nets, who had just traveled cross country to play and get absolutely annihilated in the first half. They did try to make a run, give them credit, but it was too little too late. They lose by 5 outright. Steve, they could bounce back, Steve. I'm not willing to risk it on Sacramento, especially against a team like Oklahoma City that now has Hartenstein back in the pivot that helps them at the rim so much more. I would think more than anything, it's two really, really bad offensive efforts by the Kings in succession, 88 points and 103 points, just not like them. And my first inclination was to try and play total up and over. But again, without any knowledge that they're going to come through and give us a high quality effort here, energy wise, just not sure. So for me, I'd probably lean OKC, but it's not something I want to run to the window with really quickly.
Yeah, I think we need to add a new segment, not just the contrarian call, but maybe the catch a falling knife segment when we have a large card like this, because Sacramento would be the epitome right now of catching a falling knife, right? 1-4 straight up, 0-5 ATS. I liked them Friday. Rob liked them Sunday. They burnt both of us, did not show up at all in those games. Buyer beware maybe with the Sacramento Kings. Hey, they could come out and play great tonight, but we probably need to see it on the court first before we trust them with our bankroll. All right, we're going to take some live questions from you. If you have any specific games you'd like to ask about we haven't touched on yet, don't forget we do have best bets from both cappers coming up. Before we get to those and maybe some of your questions, let's look at the overtime segment, which is a totals play that's been on the move here. And this is the Portland-Memphis game here. We saw this game open as low as 226, and now it's as high as 233 in a lot of spots. 7-point move at some sports books already. Skee, the money's been on the over in this one. Is there any value left with the over now that it's at 233 between Portland and Memphis?
That's tough. You do have a lot of rim protection missing in this game. No clinging. I think Aiden is doubtful. So that just leaves Robert Williams down there. And for a Grizzlies team that really likes to attack the paint, that could be a very big problem. So I really think that the Grizzlies can name their number. They also like to play up tempo. The Blazers lately have been playing with pace, but I just worry about their offense. So if I have to pick one side of it, I think the Grizzlies can do their part to put the over up. I'm worried about the Blazers side. And also for a prop, like I mentioned with Time Lord, I would be looking at his rebounds. They haven't released it yet, but with both of those bigs missing, I think, and also with Edey out on the other side, he should be able to grab a good amount.
Yeah, and Rob, I mean, Skee just said something key there if you like an over, right? A bunch of big guys missing. I think that definitely helps pace, and pace is really the key when it comes to handicapping totals in basketball. But this line's gone from 226 as high as to 232.5, 233 now, Rob. Is there value with the over? What are you looking at on this total?
Well, I think it's sky because we got a question mark next to John Morant. And if John Morant comes back, everybody wants to play over. Right now, how good he would be in this game is yet to be seen, but certainly that's got to be a huge reason why this thing, we all know how the betting market in the NBA especially chases totals off of injuries, chases sides off of injuries, or even questionable. They don't even know the outcome yet of the injury because the NBA waits so long before they announce whether a guy's in or out. So, the climb is probably based on Ja. I think, to add to what Skee was saying there about no big men at the rim, in particular for Portland, Memphis is the number one team in scoring points in the paint on average per game. So when you live in the paint and there's nobody there to stop you from getting into the paint and you play with a ultra extreme pace to begin with, you would expect a lot of action in at the rim, onto the free throw line, et cetera, et cetera. So for Memphis, I could see a high scoring game. Again, I'll reiterate what Skee said. Portland's sporadic as far as their scoring goes. There's nights when they play really well and score. There's nights when they don't play really well as far as offense is concerned. So that's always guesswork. I think if you wanted to take one thing into your own hands here, Memphis is the third highest first half scoring team. Perhaps they get out of the chute really quick here and score in the first half. But you could also counter that by saying, if in fact Ja does play, do they get out of the chute real quick with Ja back in the lineup? There's so many questions here depending upon this injury, Skee. You probably have to wait and see. But at this point in time, if I had to play, I would probably look toward Memphis team total up and over.
Yeah, and of course, Morant's a guy's been missing a lot of games in recent years, and Memphis has played quite well, if not better at times without him. But I think you're right, Rob. This line opened -8. It's now -11. So the side's gone up 3. The total's gone up 6 to 7. I think this is definitely people thinking Morant might be back in the lineup. But as we've talked about, these injuries sometimes fading the teams that are playing the teams that are shorthanded and fading the teams that are inflated has worked quite well. So something to keep an eye on, though. Morant may be back from Memphis tonight against Portland. All right, we're going to take some questions here in the live chat, whether you're watching us on Instagram. Joe Ranieri encourages the day drinking. And by the way, he's on Sports Grid right now. So if you're missing him, be sure to check out Sports Grid later. There'll be plenty of day drinking there. Of course, YouTube Shorts, the granddaddy, the original, the OG YouTube TV right here, WagerTalk TV, over 180,000 subscribers. I'm sure you're one of them. If not, then go ahead and click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert so you know when these shows go live throughout the week. We do them when we have big cards, both college basketball and NBA. We do the shows live, 2:15 Eastern College, 3:30 NBA, Mondays through Fridays when we have large cards, so you can ask questions about the games. But also, all of us do solo free play videos. I'm going to be doing all 3 Turkey NFL games, and I'm already getting nervous because I'm 9-1 of those free Thursday NFL plays videos this year. I'm going to do all 3. Whew, let's see what happens there. But click subscribe and click the bell for an instant alert so you know the free play videos and the shows go live here on WagerTalk TV. And if you're liking it, thumbs up, like, boom. Took 1 second. We appreciate it. And comment on the replays. If you're not watching live, hey, comment below on the replays on YouTube. We read the comments and we reply back. And my man, Dan, the producer, Dan Alexander, sending us some questions. Let's talk about the Orlando game. He wants to know, Buster Free Uno. Skee wants to know, does Orlando keep rolling? It's as simple as that. What's your take?
That's like literally the one game I have a lot of trouble with today. They've been able to, I don't like that Suggs is questionable. I think he's a big part of their defense, and that's been what's winning them games, missing their star player. It's what wins them games all the time. So I think that, my bad. I'm just trying to look here really quick. The last game, they beat Detroit by 11. I'm trying to think. They beat the Lakers. I thought they lost one of these games. Yeah, they lost to the Clippers. So, the Hornets, what I'll say from them is they covered a lot of games lately. They covered that game when LaMelo got benched. I think he came out and played a little bit better that next game. I'm trying to help you out and say that I would probably just play a full game under. I think you have Charlotte coming to play in this game, and Orlando continues to play good defense. But this is my least favorite game out of all the games today. I didn't spend a lot of time on it.
And once again, they have to put a lineup on every game, right? And as handicappers, where we make money is we pick our spots. And Skee said this is probably a stay away from him. The Orlando game, by the way, first in the rotation at 7 Eastern. We've seen the Magic go from a 2-point opener to now -5. So there definitely are some people that thinks the Orlando keeps rolling bandwagon as this line's moved almost a full 3 points. Rob, Charles White wants to know about one of the late games at 10 o'clock Eastern, Brooklyn and Golden State. He wants to know, do the Dubs bounce back smash spot? What do you think, Rob Dino?
I think they could. A couple of reasons why, Steve. For Brooklyn, it's back-to-back. So last night, I already talked about the lack of energy on the Sacramento side. Brooklyn took advantage, give them credit. They wind up winning that game wire to wire, basically. Now they have to play Golden State. Golden State's off of that Saturday loss to San Antonio, where they did not shoot the basketball well. Shot the basketball in 30 percentile range in that one. Steph Curry only 5 of 16. In that game, you would expect a bounce back. The Golden State Warriors, for what it's worth, the last 3 home games they've played, they've scored 120 or better. Brooklyn is 25th in the NBA in defensive efficiency. So you start putting the matchup together here. And you know what? Let me just go ahead and give you guys a quick quote here, because we know that Golden State is the 5th fastest tempo team in the league. But this came from Cam Thomas of Brooklyn. And Cam Thomas was talking about the new system that's been instituted here under Jordi Fernandez, first-year head coach for Brooklyn. And Cam said, here's what we do. We're going to pick up and guard. We're going to ball pressure. We're going to shoot threes, and we're going to run. If you incorporate that, and he was saying it's not perfect yet, but we're getting there. You incorporate some tempo out of Brooklyn, team that wants to shoot threes and run, with the Golden State tempo already, and you get a pretty fast-paced game. I think it sort of favors Golden State. They're the better defensive team by all metrics. Again, they're rested off of a loss. Brooklyn in here on back-to-backs against a team that didn't give them any bit of resistance last night. They're going to get some resistance here. Golden State's depth, always a factor. The question here is whether or not you like full game, early part. And I always struggle with Golden State because we know that Golden State third quarter at any given time can be a real thing. And they could be somewhat, lackadaisical first half and then big second half. But I do think they get back to doing what they do here. The thing I trust most in this game is that Golden State team total of 118. I think the Nets absolutely got away with one last night with Sacramento not showing up. I don't think they get away with it against this offense.
And that one's against a late game at 10 o'clock Eastern, one of the 9 games here on the Monday NBA card. And we're going to get to best bets in a moment. But Skee, we got one more question. It's one of our most loyal viewers. Big Daddy tunes in as much as anyone. He's a great handicapper on his own. He's using all this for information because I know he's doing his own handicapping, and that's what we want people doing here with WagerTalk TV, is using this as a source every day, and Big Daddy does that. And Big Daddy's asking about the Knicks versus Denver. Thoughts and opinions on that one?
Well, you need to know if Karl Anthony Towns is playing, because if he's not, Jericho Sims is going to stop Jokic in this game. So for me, this is a game where I really got to wait on the injury report. But Denver's looked really good. It'll be very hard for me to play against them. Their offenses looked really good. They're at home. It'll be Denver or pass from a side perspective, but maybe some way, shape, or form. The Knicks, their defense has been bottom 10. And they have been able to score the ball. So even though Denver doesn't play with extreme pace, they're efficient on offense. I want to play over some way, shape, or form in this game.
Yeah, and Rob, I'll finish this game with you as well before we get to best bets. I mean, what are your thought of the Knicks and the Nuggets, two of the better teams in the NBA last year? We know, obviously, with Jokic in and out here in recent weeks, it's been kind of tricky handicapping the Nuggets. But your thought on both of these teams just going forward. If you have something in this game tonight, let us know. But what's the big picture for you with these two franchises?
Yeah, again, I did this single game video earlier this morning, Steve, on this one. And a lot of the stuff that Skee is saying was part of my handicap. But I'm going to add to it. I'll just go in depth a little bit more on that Knicks defense. And this is Josh Hart, one of the better defensive players on the team. We've been struggling on the defensive side for the whole season. When you're not making shots and you're not playing well defensively, that's a recipe for disaster. That part of that quote refers to their prior game where they lost 121-106 to the Jazz a couple of nights ago. We got to figure it out on the defensive end, and it's going to be tough to figure it out against Denver because Denver has been playing so well offensively at this point in time. They're tied for 5th in the NBA in scoring. They average 117.5 per game. All that said, if Karl Anthony Towns is a go in this game, I would think that the Knicks, especially early in this game, probably shoot the ball better than they did against Utah. Thibodeau is a good motivator, probably gets them back on the offensive end into a groove here. And the Knicks, for what it's worth, and this is why sometimes taking one statistical number, Steve, doesn't paint the entire picture. The Knicks are dead last in the NBA in possessions per game. And you think, well, they don't get any possessions. They're slow as molasses, but they're the second-rated offensive efficiency team in the NBA, which is why they don't get as many possessions, because they score all the time. So to Skee's point about the Knicks being able to score the basketball, I think maybe early, if Anthony Towns plays, the Knicks getting over their first half total might work here. I can't make a case to play under in any way, shape, or form in this contest, but I did think the odds maker priced it pretty well. It makes you stop and think before you just run to the window with the over, because up there at 233 where it was early, I think it's 232 now, it's a tall climb. These two can do it, but I would prefer to have the Knicks first half if, in fact, Towns plays.
Yeah, and how about this? The Denver Nuggets have had the second most overs in the Western Conference so far this season. So far, they're 10-5 to the over. If you look, Phoenix has 10 overs, and the Memphis Grizzlies had 12 overs, or have 12 overs. And of course, we talked about that huge move in the overtime segment on the Memphis-Portland game tonight. So the Nuggets 10-5 to the over, yet just 6-8-1 against the spread with their 9-6 straight-up start here this season. All right, we appreciate the questions, as always, from the loyal viewers on the live feeds. And don't forget, if you're watching on the replay, comment below. We read the comments and reply back as well. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, and click that bell for instant alert for the videos and shows here on WagerTalk TV. And on the way out, Skee, let us know what you've got going on here Monday night at WagerTalk.com. By the way, the replay today of WagerTalk Today is available. It's safe to watch because it's a press-free zone. I was on there with Teddy Covers, and Skee Profit was on there giving you a prop bet in the Monday Night Football game. So check out Skee's free player prop for Monday Night Football and Wager Talk today. And on Skee on the way out, let's give everyone a free basketball play here, and also let us know what you got going on at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, guys, I can only give you guys, or I can. It's not that I only can, but I only want to give you guys what I bet. And one play I gave already has moved about 40 plus cents, so I can only give you the other one. So what I have going on really quick, I did play 2 plays today in the NBA. I'm thinking about playing another one in college basketball, and I'm 8-2 to start the season. So you guys know where to find all my work on my page. Best bet for the show, I'm going to go back to the Pelicans. And the best number you can get right now on this is plus 6.5. Same, I have plus 7, but same for me. It's the second of a back-to-back for the Pacers after they took advantage of the bottom of the barrel in the Washington Wizards. This is a team who, before that game, gave up 129 plus in 3 straight. If you know me, you know how I say you can't trust teams to win by margin if they can't get a stop. Now they'll face a Pelicans team who is the much more rested team with 2+ days rest. I think 2 days exactly, and they're getting healthier. They have Ingram, who's going to be out there, along with CJ McCollum and Trey Murphy, who both missed 4 and 5 games so far this season. So I think the offense will improve tremendously, and versus a soft Pacers defense, and honestly, a Pacers offense that's looked lackluster. I think plus 7 is a gift. I think Pelicans can play their first great road game tonight.
That game goes early at 7:10 Eastern. Skee Profit says, take a look at the New Orleans Pelicans as an underdog at Indiana. Rob Vino, let us know what you've got going on at WagerTalk.com. This is just a great week with football. A reminder, by the way, that the rest of football season special for every capper expires after tomorrow night. If you want to get that $3.99 special through the Super Bowl, college and pro combined, not a bad week to jump on board with all the Thanksgiving action. And, of course, this special expires tomorrow, the $3.99 football exclusive. No promo code needed. And, Rob, let us know what you got going on tonight on Monday at WagerTalk.com, and also maybe a little free NBA play here on the show.
Yeah, so for tonight, Steve, it's kind of a trifecta of sports, so to speak, because it involves 3 different sports here. We've got a best bet in the NBA. We've got a college basketball best bet and a play in the NFL. And I'm rapidly working on getting up tomorrow's MAC card. We have MACtion Tuesday, Wednesday, and, of course, the full slate from Thursday through Sunday. So it's going to come up fast and furious. These plays will go ahead and continue to check the homepage, wt.buzz/RV. Steve, the people who got here early were the guys who got the best number. I happened to get there a little bit early, and I apologize to the clients for not getting it out overnight last night. But I'm going to use, even at this price, the Celtics Clippers under as the best bet for the show. And wait a minute, don't auto-tune the show. We did say under. And it's simply based on what the Clippers have done the last 5 games defensively. It's been amazing. And I know the Sixers are not a good offensive team, but once again, they came through and held them under 100. Their last 5 games, they've given up 105, 99, 93, 88, and 99. In the NBA, in modern-day NBA, you don't give up less than 100 4 straight games. It just doesn't happen, but the Clippers are doing it. I think if you add fuel to this fire, you say that the Clippers shot 58% last night. They probably don't shoot that against Boston. You also have to take note of the Clippers' three-point percentage defense. It's second best in the NBA. Boston lives on shooting threes. And Boston probably has Porzingis. I think Porzingis is coming back tonight. So, again, we worry a little bit about that rust factor, inserting a guy into a rotation. We'll see how Porzingis does for the Celtics. But this number started 223.5. It's dropped all the way to 217.5. I still think there's some wiggle room there. Boston's a good defensive team that can, LA likes to go slow, probably limit their points. And I think LA is just limiting everybody's points at this point in time. So best bet for the show, Boston, LA Clippers under the 217.5.
Like it. It's another good game which we had not talked about. So we covered almost every game on the board here on NBA Tip-Off Show for Monday. If you found that useful, thumbs up, like, and comment below. Let us know. And don't forget, if you want some of the college basketball info, that was on about an hour and a half earlier. That's replays available 24/7 here on the channel, the College Basketball Tip-Off Show. And, of course, Wager Talk today earlier had a lot of Monday Night Football talk and also some NHL. Check out all the plays and the free plays here on all the shows every day. Standalone video. Speaking of Tuesday Mac, I'm going to do one of the games here right after this show. That'll be up later tonight for tomorrow's action. I'm going to be doing all 3 NFL Thursday games. I'm 9-1 with my free Thursday night NFL videos this season. I'm putting it on the line with all 3 Thanksgiving games for you. So click subscribe and click that bell for instant alerts. And as far as Monday night goes, I've got 2 best bets going tonight at WagerTalk.com. Monday Night Football side. I gave you the total for free in a video. I've got a best bet on the side for my clients, and also an NBA best bet tonight. And, oh, yeah, a bonus free NBA play. So if you'd like to get a free play, check it out right now on my page and take a look at those best bets as well. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. You can get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Ranieri is scheduled to be back tomorrow on Tuesday. NBA Tip-Off Show tomorrow once again at 3:30 Eastern live, and then replay 24/7 here on Wager Talk TV. Thanks to Dan Alexander back in the studio. Thanks to Rob Vino, Ski Prophet. I am Steve Merrill, wishing you the best of luck tonight on Monday, and we'll talk to you again soon here on Wager Talk TV.